So during this lecture session, I am going to discuss a few important issues or say few important aspects related to stores management in an organization. Already, the value engineering or value analysis part we have already discussed, and now what we have mentioned that there could be relationships between value engineering and the stores management. As you have already say come to know that the substitution of the materials is an important aspect to be considered in value engineering. So obviously, say this you need to go for substitution of materials, and you prefer a better quality material, and better quality material, or for that matter any type of material which you keep in your say the inventory management systems for production purposes. Now there must be appropriate the storing and the stores management for all these materials. Now if the stores management is appropriate, what you will find that so it will have a positive impact on the average inventory investment. So the stores management details you must know, and when you study the details of the stores management, immediately you could relate many of the activities carried out as a part of stores management with the value engineering, the related activities or value engineering related factors. So this aspect we are going to discuss, and we are also going to discuss during this lecture session what is known as the inventory valuation. So the inventory valuation is actually say one important say the objective of the storing or the stores management, and there are different methods you can employ, you can use for inventory valuation. And so what are these methods you must know, and how to use those methods, under what conditions, that also you must know. So all these details we are going to discuss during this lecture session. Now the stores management is one of the key areas of materials management. This point already we have elaborated. Like the other the key areas are say the purchasing management, inventory control, and many others we have already pointed out. And definitely the logistics and the supply chain, particularly the logistic systems, and so the inbound logistics as well as the outbound logistics. So we are going to discuss the logistics and supply chain management issues in our the next lecture session. Right now we are referring to the stores management, and what we say that any inventory management system is closely linked with the stores management systems in an organization. Now here is how do you establish this fact? You know that when you refer to so the inventory management systems, so it is closely linked with the purchasing system, and the concept of purchasing cycle already you are aware of. Now while you identify the many operations of say the many interrelated activities of this purchasing cycle, the storing is an important activity. That means in the purchasing cycle there is one the work element called receipt, and then after you receive the item, it is to be inspected. So obviously this is the responsibility of the stores department or the stores management function. So this is one part. The second part is, the stores department or the stores is playing a very important role for supplying the items to the using department all the time. Okay, so like you have come to know that under certain conditions, you said the stores requisition as a using department. Suppose you need some item in certain quantity, so and you verify whether these items are available in the stores or not at that point in time, and you send the stores requisitions for that. If you find that this item is not available in the required quantity at the stores at that point in time, obviously you send another requisition. It is called the purchase requisition, and then with the initiation of the purchase requisition, and you show your you just let you the stores or the purchasing department will come to know about your requirements, and then the purchasing process starts, and then the items will be supplied, and that means items will be received, and again while the items are getting received, the stores they playing a very important role. So it is received, it is stored, and it is to be stored, the item is to be stored in such a way that its value is retained. You already know that what is the value of an item. So the functional value plus the appearance value, aesthetics values must be retained. That means that kind of the storing facilities or the storing technology you must be using. So any inventory management system is closely linked with the stores management systems in an organization. That means while you try to establish this relationship, you must be able to identify specific activities where the stores or the storing plays a very important role. No inventory systems works efficiently unless storing of the items is properly done. This point we have been emphasizing, and the records of transactions are kept and maintained accurately for items over time. So this is the responsibility of the stores department, and as you may be knowing that there are two main types of so the inventory control systems. One is the perpetual review system, and the second one is the periodic review systems. And always there could be receipts of the items, and there could be issuance of the items to the using departments, or so the issue of the items, or say the other plans to the users, to the customers. So these the two activities you carry out, and against these activities there will be some these are referred to as the transaction. So these transactions are taking place all the time. Okay, and while any transaction is on, now it has impact on the inventory level. That means if there is any transaction, now the transaction is done, and then now what is say what is its impact on the inventory level in monetary terms. So this the inventory level is constantly changing. So you have to the track, you have to know at any point in time that what is the current inventory level in monetary terms. So for that you need to know what is the storing the methods, and what are the facilities you have in the storing for what is the stores management systems. So the transactions may either receipt or withdrawal. Okay, so the receipts or withdrawal means you are the stores requisition is sent, and as per the requirement you send the items, you issue the items from the stores to the using department. So this is referred to as the withdrawal of the item from the stock. So there are two aspects to look into in this context. So what are these two aspects? The storing systems of the inventory items. Okay. So you must be aware of the how do you the store, which method you have for a given item for its storing, and inventory valuation and measurement. Is it okay? So these two aspects we will be dealing with. Now, what are the different kinds of storing systems you may have? And we are referring to the inventory items only. Now, for storing, there may be three types of locations, or one may suggest against an inventory items. Okay. So what are these three types of the locations for the storing? First one is referred to as the fixed locations. Okay, fixed location. That means if you get an item A, for item A there is one particular the space or one particular area earmarked. So whenever you get item A, you just store it in that particular place or in that particular particular location. So that is basically the fixed location. The random location means, you know, the item is received and the item is stored at a particular place, at any place which is available at that point in time. So this is called basically the random locations. And third one is the zone locations. That means the group of items are to be placed in a particular area. So that area is earmarked. So whenever for any item within this group, so you just place or you just store the item at a particular zone or the area. Now, what are the characteristic features of the fixed location system? There are three important issues you should be aware of. First one is, each item is permanently assigned to a specific location in the store. Okay. That means each item is permanently assigned a specific location in the store, right? Already this point I have mentioned. And with this system, finding out an item becomes very easy, because against the items the store's location is known. And you just make a note that there could be different ways you can store the item depending on say the size of the item, or say the shape of the item, depending on say what sort of say the protection you need for that item, and what is the longevity or the durability, and whether the special say the packaging method is required or not, or the special packing material is to be used or not, so retain its the life. So all these details, these are all technical issues. So these technical issues you must consider while you select a particular method of the location. However, the space utilizations of the store may be inefficient. Is it okay? That means this is the point to be noted, but there are few advantages so that you get if you opt for a fixed location system. As an alternative to the fixed location system, you can have a random location system also. So what is a random location? That means an item is assigned to the easiest open space. That means the item has arrived and you find that very near, that means immediately you can identify one free space. So why don't you just store the item in that free space? So as and when type of system, as and when it is available, an item is assigned to the easiest open space and does not have any specific location to store. That means access is guaranteed. Okay. And that way you say it is, if the access is very easy access, you say is the easiest open space. Same item may be stored in more than one locations. This is obviously this is the case, and the space utilization is efficient. but the location of the item is to be updated with each transaction, right. So, accurate recording is necessary, and many a time you need to adopt a computer based say the information system for this. Okay. So, if suppose even the second alternative is not feasible for the given item, so you may go for the zone location system. So, what is the zone location system? It is a combination of fixed and random locations. Similar items are grouped together, as I have been telling you, and for each group a particular location is allocated for storing. Is it okay? So, like it's like a the functional layout. Okay. So, so first what you need to do, that means the grouping principles you have to apply, and based on the similarity with respect to the materials, or the similarity with respect to the shape and size, or both. So, first you have to group the items. Okay. So, that logic should be established, and so suppose you deal with some say 5,000 items. So, the 5,000 items may be grouped under say the 50 the grouped under 50 categories, and so the 50 groups you have created, and on an average in each group there are around 100 items. Is it okay? And for these 100 types of items, okay, of varying the quantities, you create a space. So, obviously, so the similar items are grouped together, and for each group a particular location is allocated for storing. Now, this is essentially a location problem, and so for there could be many other issues to be considered. Just keep in mind that this is basically a combined system. An item belonging to a group is located randomly in the location allocated in its group. Is it okay? That means within a particular location, within a particular say the item within a particular group, so the item is say the stored anywhere, that means randomly. Is it okay? So, with this system space utilization is efficient. The main objective of stores management is to keep the inventory of items in acceptable and good condition, maintaining their quality and value till they are used or transported to other locations, including users' workplace, depending on so the kind of item you are dealing with. So, what you need to do, that means your the storing method should be such that the quality of the item is retained, then the value of the item is retained, and as soon as you get some say some requisition, so you as quickly as possible the items are to be sent to the using department in the required quantity, or it is to be sent to the user's workplace if you deal with the finished goods inventory in the stores. So, in the stores may have the different types of items, like it could be the raw materials, and for the raw materials you may opt for an open stores, whereas for the finished goods or say the purchase parts, you may definitely you must go for this is a closed the stores, and so so the depending on the type of item, depending on say the type of say the workplaces you have, you develop the storing method. And in today's context, for retaining the quality and value of the item, you may use several sorts of the several types of appropriate technology for sort of packing and storing. Is it okay? And there are say the many important functions and organizations must be dealing with, and one of the important function is the storing and the packaging and storing. Is it okay? So, so in the entire say the the quality loop, starting with market research and ending with say the disposal after use, you will find one of the key the functions is the packaging and storing. The kinds of technology being used in maintenance of the store, this is an important point. So, for the maintenance of the stores and packaging materials, what kind of say the technology you have been using, an important point. Packing of materials, what sort of say the method you use, and the overall physical conditions of the stores, how do you retain in good condition. Determine to what extent the quality and the value of inventory of item can be maintained and corresponding cost of carrying inventory. You are already familiar with a particular so the inventory related cost, that is holding cost or inventory carrying cost. And what we have mentioned, that inventory carrying cost may be substantial, and if you look at the activities to be carried out for holding the inventory in good condition, so essentially or acceptable condition, so essentially it is the stores related activities. So, if you have control on the stores related activities, you will have control on the inventory carrying cost. And as we have already pointed out that the controlling inventory carrying cost is an important issue, and it should be as small as possible. Is it okay? So, so depending on the type of technology used for storing, depending on the type of items you store, okay, and say what sort of say the improvement say the techniques you use, so the cost of carrying inventory is dependent. Okay, so this is one, and the next important point is for ascertaining the actual levels of quality, value and physical inventory. Okay, that means on hand inventory. This term you are familiar with, on hand inventory. A physical count and assessment is necessary. Okay, periodically you must do. This verification is mandatory and done periodically twice or thrice a year, and this is referred to as a physical stock verification. This is there for any organization, through which the differences, if any, between the book value and say between the book value as per the record and actual or the physical inventory is known. That means while you estimate the value of inventory at a particular point in time, you use certain the costing method. Is it okay? So, through this costing or the accounting method, so you get the value. So, that is referred to as the book value. But again, the physical means the stock which you observe when you say check the physical stock and you just calculate its costing, the cost, then that value may be different, because there could be many events that might have happened, like there could be the loss of inventory, there could be the pilferage, there could be the damage to the inventory of the items. So, the many such say the events may take place which will have a direct say the effect on the amount of say the inventory in physical units that you are keeping at a particular store's location. So, so always what you have to do, that means you need to know the difference between the book value and the actual the inventory or the physical inventory valuation. So that's why so the valuation of inventory at periodic intervals you do. The causes of differences need to be known, that why there is a there may be the substantial say or the significant difference between these two for one item, whereas for another item the maybe the difference may not be significant. So what are the possible causes? Is it okay? So is the valuation method perfect, or is it that particular valuation method is suitable for the given item? Okay. So all these the questions you raise, and you try to solve the problems as quickly as possible, and all possible preventive measures are to be taken to minimize the difference. Okay. So this is obvious. So the inventory accuracy is a fundamental requirement. So you just so keep a note, or you should note down this point, that is the inventory accuracy is a fundamental requirement of any inventory system, and the stores management plays a vital role in it. Okay, so without the support of the store management, you cannot ensure inventory accuracy. The stores can be categorized under different categories. The first one is the open and closed stores. So what is an open store and what is a closed stores? Usually raw materials or the materials that need weather conditioning. There are many such the materials, like say the castings you require as a raw material. Open stores are used for those kinds of materials. Otherwise, for other types of items, closed stores are usually used. Then it can be defined as a centralized or decentralized stores. For the common items to be used at different plant locations, centralized stores may be used. That means there could be some common items and there could be special items. So the common items you may have a centralized stores, whereas for plant specific items you can recommend decentralized stores. Okay. Again, the stores can be of general type or the special type. There may be stores of these types at a plant location, at a given plant. General stores keep the common items, direct and indirect items. Direct items are those items which are a part of the product, whereas the indirect items are those items which are required to for continuing the production systems, for supporting the production system. And the special stores are maintained for individual production units, like fabrication shop, machine shop, assembly shop, etc. So this way you can classify the stores. Over and above these types of stores, there may be warehouses, either owned by the organizations or leased from other agencies. Is it okay? It's like say like bonded warehouse you may have, located at a number of locations in the inbound and outbound logistics systems. Okay. So later on, when we refer to inbound and outbound logistics systems, we'll come to know that how the stores management is playing a very important role, and what are the different types of the stores you may have in this the logistical, or say in the inbound and outbound logistical systems, connected by appropriate traffic or transportation systems. So these are very, very important. In fact, that means at any point in time at a given store, how much say the inventory you are keeping, okay, at any point in time, it depends on say to what extent you are getting support with the type of traffic and the transportation system. So the stores is the custodian of inventory of items, and hence it is the store's responsibility in many instances to assess both physical and financial characteristics of inventory. There must be proper control of flow of goods, that is factual and objective. This represents physical characteristics of inventories. Along with physical characteristics, inventory has financial characteristics associated with the flow of cost. So the first one is the flow of materials, okay, and the second one is the flow of costs. Say dealing with, so the inventory cost and expenses depend on the accounting procedure used. No single method exists for determining costs for accounting purposes. There could be different methods. An inventory flow method refers to the way items are added to and taken from the inventory, okay, and the selection of the assumed inventory flow method determines the flow of cost. So with reference to the inventory valuation of inventory, out of a set of inventory flow methods, one may be preferred, and there are 4 principal methods you have, and you have to select any one on them. So the first one is the first in first out, the second one is the last in first out, the third one is the average cost method, and fourth one is the the specific cost method. And for all these methods for inventory valuation, we refer to 2 specific aspects. One is the value of ending inventory that you must be able to estimate, and the second one is you must be able to estimate the cost of goods sold. So with this we have been say referring to the stores management issues, and ultimately related to stores management are the valuation of inventory. So in the next lecture sessions I will be referring to the different kinds of methods which are normally used for valuation of inventory. Thank you.